Hi guys, welcome back to Daily Astrology. Today we are continuing with a series of Saturn's transit into the sign of Pisces, and in this video we are going to be talking about the ascendant sign of Taurus, as well as you can watch this video from a Taurus moon sign perspective. Now, of course, when you are going to watch this video from a Taurus Lagna, Taurus ascendant or rising perspective, this video will help you derive significances from a physical realities perspective. The manifestations are going to have from a physical living significances standpoint. However, from a Taurus moon standpoint as well, you can watch this video and you will there derive the emotional aspects of it. Of course, a lot of people will choose one over the other depending on the strength of the chart you use. However, my suggestion is to watch the video from both perspectives. Say you are a Taurus moon and a Pisces Lagna, then watch this video and then Pisces Lagna video later as well when that is released. Hope that gives you clarity. Now we will share the screen and understand what's happening from this transit perspective for you. So, guys, as you can refer on the screen here, we see that Saturn is coming into the sign of Pisces in your 11th house. Now, this planet is ruling your 10th as well as your ninth house. It becomes a Yog Karka planet for Taurus people. And of course, if you are watching this from a moon perspective, then you've already got an exalted moon, and your Lagna or your moon would also be getting an aspect from this Saturn. But before we jump into understanding what's been happening there, let's understand that from a timeline perspective, on March 29th, you will find this transit happening into your 11th house. It is going to be transiting in combustion. It has already combusted at this point in time. And even when he moves beyond the cusp into your 11th, he will remain combusted there for a significant time for the next few weeks. This transit is going to be for the next 2.5 years. And in this period, you will find that Saturn shall get combusted multiple times. Not only that, it would also be going through retrogradation. And in this retrograde mode, it will remain within the 11th house, come back to your 10th, and will again move ahead into the sign of Aries and thereby return to Pisces as well. So, a lot of interesting movement, in fact, for a 3 year period that you can anticipate. Now, the good thing that you have to understand for this Saturn, it's a though a malefic planet, but it's a Yoga Karaka planet for you. For the last 2.5, in fact, 5 years duration, you've had a beautiful placement of this Saturn because being the ninth lord, he was placed in the ninth and later he got placed into the 10th house for you. The best outcomes that you've derived so far were in the last 2.5 years because of ninth lord forming a Raj Yoga, Shash Yoga as well. It became a lord of the square, a lord of your Kendra houses, and was stationed in one in the sign of Aquarius, which meant that you as a native have been extremely principled in your approach. And that discipline, that principle, that belief system, your moral compass has reflected in your karmas as well. You've been taking the measures accordingly. You've did with the kind of grind that Saturn wants you to pick, and that has been the forte. It's a good attribute, Saturn, for from a Saturn perspective that you guys have depicted, Taurus guys. Saturn has also expected to bring a lot of hard work and toil your way. Last 2.5 years were periods where you would have slogged your bottoms off to achieve the success in whatever sphere of life you are. If you were watching as a student, you would have put in 100% of your effort in terms of your education. You would have put that effort in your job, in your career, in your business relationships as well. In fact, this Saturn would have pushed you to do things for the larger good of the community around your society in terms of the public domain. This Saturn has helped you to garner the respect of the people from the community. Your social reputation has been increasing and it will continue to move in that direction. But at the same time, this Saturn was bringing in some losses. It was making you bring in certain expenses, anticipated, unanticipated, both of them. The last 2.5 years have not been great in terms of managing your finances efficiently. You've worked yourself hard into situations, dealing with challenges and problems. Yet, there have been situations where you had more and more issues crop up. Unexpected obstacles had come your way. And a lot of your energy, time, effort went in terms of dealing with those issues, which could have taken a toll on your mental health as well. It could have reflected into you spending money into hospitalization. Some of you would have actually faced issues with your international travel. Many of you could have seen delays coming from a work perspective if you were anticipating shift from a location standpoint. And when I say that, it more so focuses towards long distance location shifts. Many of you were anticipating shift into a different geography, into a new country itself, or from a different cultural space. But those issues were hurting you a bit. You could have also faced challenges with respect to your export and import related activities. You have to understand that this Saturn was giving a debilitated and difficult third aspect into your 12th house. So, yes, challenges were abound, but you did not drop your guard. You've been working extremely hard and you are going to see the result of that hard work come through as well. This Saturn was also giving an aspect of 4,000 to the sign of Leo, and it was not an easy aspect at all, my friends, because one, with Leo, he does not enjoy great relationship, but also it was giving some bit of mental toil to you. It was making you go through certain kind of agony from an emotional, mental aspect. But it is highly probable that many of you could have embarked upon the construction of a new property. Some of you would have purchased land, done reconstruction, remodeling of your home address, of your home itself. I anticipate that many of you could have seen that shift. Your parents are dwelling too. Your mother could have taken certain initiatives. Many of you might have purchased new furniture in the last 2.5 years. You can comment and confirm that, yes, Dave, that happened to me. And the reason is that Saturn signifies investment in all these areas. You could have built your asset in this space. In fact, if you were associated with Saturn related businesses like wood, manufacturing, furniture, oil and gas, trading, human resources, large scale enterprises, in all those segments, you would have seen an exorbitant amount of energy being utilized from your end. Your physical, mental, emotional energy would have been utilized to the zilt in the last 2.5 years, my friends. Then, many of you could have also seen transformation come through in your relationships, especially in your marital part. So, getting married, getting into marital bliss, or if you were already married, then finding certain challenges that you had to overcome, constantly working on your relationship to improve the quality of your relationship itself would have been the highlight of the last 1.5 years for you. Because Saturn sitting in your 10th house, from its 10th aspect, had been giving an aspect to your house of marriage, to your house of relationships, into the sign of Scorpio. And that is why, my friends, there was a certain degree of transformation which was coming in. But if you've held with your moral compass, if you've held with your belief system and you have done your level best in that space, you will realize that there will be a renewed set of outcome that would have come your way. Many of you would have been blessed with the right partner. Many of you would have sailed through difficult circumstances in your relationship and would have bounced back. And that is the beauty of Saturn, because he, though comes across as a sadistic planet, he wants to test you. He wants to test your mettle. He wants to see that whether or not you are going to stand up through difficult situations. Are you going to drop your guard? Are you going to drop your ammunition and run away? Or you are going to put up a fight? And Taurus, it is so important for you to realize that now with this transit, you will be overcoming all these issues related to your relationships, even partnerships at a larger level, collaboration at a larger level that you would have anticipated, and it did not work out with you. It did not work out for your business, for example, will change now. I do see that constant effort that you had put in terms of forging new relationships, forging new partnerships for your business, that is already starting to reap the right outcome that you anticipate. Yes, there is a glitch of the combustion of Saturn thus far, but it is going to move away. That eclipse shall be transcended into oblivion, and you will realize that you will be bouncing back with these aspects too. So, yes, last 2.5 years brought in some unexpected, non desired challenges to your life. It would have brought in expenses with respect to your health issues. It would have brought in losses where you least anticipated. You could have spent time, effort, energy in terms of emotionally and mentally dealing with things, but it would have also given you opportunity to build on your assets, to expand on what you already have, and double down on what can be done in the next few years. And the relationship partnership angle, which was turbulent, which was being tested, would have given you enough learnings. It would have, as people say, that you have to work on your marriage, you have to work on your partnership, you have to work on your companion, you have to work on your relationship. That work is what Saturn was pushing you through in the last 2.5 years. And it has made you a smarter person with depth, a person who has a lot more clarity in terms of what is anticipated from you in these difficult situations. But as we move ahead into the year of 2025, from 29th March onwards, there is going to be this shift that is being promised by Saturn. Saturn is moving into your 11th house. And it is important both from a Taurus ascendant as well as a Taurus moon perspective for you guys to understand how the aspect of Saturn is going to impact you. First and foremost, what you will realize is that a slow moving planet like Saturn, which is the Karka of fears, it is a Karka or a significator of slowness in your life, action not materializing or getting delayed, is coming into your house of wish fulfillment and gains. But he is coming in there, being the Lord of your ninth house and 10th house, respectively. And this becomes interesting because the movement of the 10th Lord into the 11th is a second movement, which means that it is going to be a fruition of your karmas. But the ninth Lord movement into 11th is third movement, which means that it is going to embark on with certain challenges as well in terms of the gains that you are expecting, the gains of your destiny, the gains of your fortune, the gains from the principle on which you stand upon is going to come after a certain toil, after a certain hard work. Now, you would say that Dave, we've already been working hard all this while. Yes, but after all, your Yoga Karaka planet is Saturn, and he is expecting you to continue with that hard work as he starts rewarding you. Why do I say as he starts rewarding you? Because he is coming into that granting mode. He is coming into that wish fulfillment house. But it is also your house of larger network. It is the house of your larger connections. And you will realize that during this period, you are going to bring your thought process, your belief system, the way you act upon your moral compass, it will get associated with a larger network, a network that is traditional in mindset, a network which is a tad bit old school as well. Thus, you will see that everything that you've believed in will transpire to give you the outcomes that you've always wanted or worked towards. But they will come with that last bit of effort from you. If you are working employed in an organization, your superiors, your bosses are going to bestow you with that growth that you demanded for, that you worked for. But the last ditch effort would still be required for you to close out that deal, to accomplish that high on the project, to ensure that your end customer, end user is satisfied with your effort. And that is when your bosses, your superiors, your leaders are going to bestow you with a wish that you desire for. It could be in the form of a promotion, a salary hike, a pay correction, or whatever that you plan for. You see how the loose ends that still remain open at your place need to be tied up. It could be your desire to be married with the person that you've been dating. We were talking about relationships in the last 1.5 years. Many of you could have seen delays in your marriage. This is a period where you can accomplish that kind of a desire, that kind of a goal as well. Your father will have to play some sort of a role in helping you out in those situations. If not your father, your fatherly figure or a mentor or a guru whom you look up to, their guidance, their involvement, their benediction at this point in time is going to be extremely crucial for you. This Saturn is going to bring you into networks, it will bring you into connections with people who are more experienced than you. And you will have to utilize their experience, you will have to utilize their knowledge, their expertise in these 2.5 years to help you accomplish what you are chasing. It's important because if you don't do, there is a high risk this Saturn can take you into isolation from your friends as well. It can pull you away from everybody. But at the same time, if you are surrounding yourself, and I do not want to be sounding only age specific, even if you are surrounding yourselves with people who are younger than you, bring people who are having old school values, core values associated with them. This is also going to be a period where you will be fortunate enough to experience travel into new locations. The list that you've kept as your bucket list as to do or to visit will be ticked off during this 2.5 year period for you, my friends. So you will enjoy some travel time as well, but a lot of that travel will have some or the other spiritual connection and associated with it. There would be a connotation of some sort of a pilgrimage coming into play. So, whilst you might plan 4 travels in an year, but 1 or 2 quarters you will be taking travels to places which are holy by nature or that give you a soothing experience. Now, for someone, a holy experience could be visiting, say, a temple or a mosque in a mountain, a church in a beach place. Whilst for somebody else, that could be a scenic experience where they could go and meditate, where they could do their yoga. I have seen so many people taking offs and visiting retreats. Why do they do that? Because it is that connection of the ninth and the 12th coming into play, ninth and the 11th coming into play as well. So you will find that Taurus moon and Taurus risings, you will be taking holidays that relax you, that soothe you to a certain extent. It is also a second movement of the 10th Lord into the 11th. Means the fruition of your hard work, the fruition of your karma is definitely going to be coming in place in these 2.5 years. You've slogged your butt off in terms of making that startup work for you. You've been working hard at your job front. You are a homemaker who's been putting her heart and soul into what needs to be achieved for the family. All of you. If you are a student watching this video who's been putting efforts in terms of educating themselves, adapting and adopting new courses, new areas of research, all of you, what you are going to be surprised to find is if your hard work has been in the right direction, this is going to be the period where you are going to be reaping the rewards. You are going to be getting admissions in some of the best colleges and schools that you've been targeting. You will be accomplishing the goals for your family for which you've been working hard and tying your energies into their success. Your job is going to see that uptick, that promotion, that growth that you've been anticipating and working for, or that job change that you always desired. And that business that you worked hard for is going to find a new breath of fresh air. This Saturn is moving second to itself. It's coming into the house of wish fulfillment and it is coming into the sign of Pisces. So you have to also understand that all this wish fulfillment will have to have certain degree of enlightenment to it, certain depth, certain gravity to it. Shallow desires, shallow dreams will not be something that Saturn is going to be entertaining. It is going to be about that gravitas, that life changing experience for you guys. Now, especially for Taurus, this is going to be a very interesting period as well because the third aspect of this 11th house, Pisces Saturn, is going to be on your moon. Even from a Taurus rising perspective, this aspect is going to be coming into the Lagna, into the first house itself. So, from a moon perspective, what you will realize is that there is going to be some unsaid, unknown degree of pressure on your mind, and it will be work related, or it could be related to your father. It could be coming in from your superiors, from your bosses, where you have to prove your worth again, or at least that is the kind of pressure that you might end up taking up on yourself, that you would want to prove your worth, you would want to prove your mettle and showcase that whatever you've achieved or whatever has been given to you in terms of your new roles or responsibilities, in terms of your new job, in terms of your promotion, in terms of that new business deal, in terms of getting that admission into the college, you are going to try and prove to your mentor, to your guru, to your bosses that you are every bit worth it. And this is going to be extremely tricky if you are a Taurus moon. Yes, as a moon sign, you have an exalted moon here, but even exalted moon will feel that pressure because Saturn is coming into a watery sign. Yes, he is giving an aspect into the sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Saturn has a friendly relationship with it. Yet, it will be a tricky aspect. From a Taurus rising perspective, what you will find is that this is the time where you could see some unexpected delay. Health issues, both physical and from a moon standpoint, emotional and mental, could bother you. So you will have to be careful in terms of making sure that you are doing everything to recuperate, to keep yourself fit, to engaging in the right set of physical activities. And that is a remedy in itself. Because when the Taurus sign is getting that aspect, be it your moon or be it your rising, you will be expected to work hard, to hit the gym and exude out that energy which is being aspected by Saturn. It may not be a bad idea for the moon sign folks to be doing some chanting as well during this period. It is going to bring you a lot of relaxation because you are going to feel that unsaid, unhighlighted pressure on top of you. And it is just because you might be trying your level best to prove a point which is not even asked for by the other party. That is specifically to the moon. Overall, I feel that this is going to be a period where success will come your way. You will accomplish your goals, but you will accomplish it after overcoming a hurdle. You will have to put that last fight, last battle up and against. So at the fag end of it, whilst you will feel that you are drained out, there's not much left in you to deliver, you still would want to give that last iota of effort to tell Saturn that yes, you've earned it, rightfully earned it. Now, the Saturn will also be giving an aspect to your seventh house, to your house of creativity, to your house of romance. And seventh aspect is one where where Saturn wants to see balance. And Taurus, this is where you have to strike balance. You will have to find time for work and for play. You will have to juggle between work life balance. You will have to go old school, Creativity, yes, is abound if you are a Taurus moon, but you will have to go old school, my friends, because now you will have to go and follow a timetable, a structure that you want to give to yourself, where you balance that work and play, where you bring utilization of templates versus the sporadic behavior that comes with creativity. So anything that you are approaching with has to be planned for. It has to be a disciplined approach, be it your investments, be it your time with your kids, be it your studies, or be it your romance. You will have to devote equal amount of time to your partners as to your work. And I'm sorry, equal is probably not the right reflection, but the right amount of time which you have to decide depending on the dasha, antardasha, or situation you are in life. You will have to put that order, that discipline in place in your education, in your studies. If you've already cleared the competition and if you've got into college or a school or whatever admissions that you wanted to take into, this is a time where you will have to prove your worth and you will have to stick with that rhythm of maintaining that beat. This Saturn does not want you to be experimenting when it comes to or speculations when it comes to trading or your stock market investments. He wants you to take the beaten approach, the proven approach that you've taken, and he's sitting in the 11th house, in your house of gains. So he's promising right outcomes to you as long as you are legitimate with that approach. It is also the house of startups, it's the house of mantra. So doing mantras of Shani or doing Hanuman Chalisa, Hanuman mantras, Hanuman prayers in itself will be extremely soothing if you go through tough phases during this phase. It's a very beautiful natural remedy that will come out for you guys. But this is also a period where your children, if you are watching this video as parents, could face some tough situations. They could fall sick. They could face delays in their own lives. There could be challenges in their relationships too. And you will have to play the role of that ninth, of that mentor, of that guide to them. And you will have to be proactive because the ninth lord is going three places away to itself and aspecting the fifth. In fact, many of you will find your kids aspiring for higher education in a foreign land, in a different country or city itself during this period. You might have to counsel them during this period as to what would be the right choices for them. It becomes extremely important. Whether you are a father or mother, I am neutral on this perspective, guys. Unlike other astrologers, yes, the books here will say that the father has to be the one making that recommendation. But I would want to take a neutral approach towards it. You will have to guide your kids as to what is the right choice that they must embark upon. Now, this Saturn is going to bring you relief in your relationships and marriage as well. Especially if you are married, you are now going to collectively work towards building your joint wealth. Your relationship with your in laws might be tricky, might be testing on occasions. They themselves could face certain issues and it may or may not be your concern. But you will be working with your spouse in terms of building your joint assets. You will be spending time in terms of pursuing careers that require research. Some of you might take break and embark upon an education that require you to learn something new. Prepare yourself for the next level. And that is where research oriented studies, especially if you are associated with Saturn or with Jupiter professions, being a teaching assistant, being a mentor, being an advisor, a counselor, those kind of professions, or if you are associated with Saturn kind of industries, mining, agriculture, construction, real estate, people industries, large people industries, you will have to combine the aspects of Jupiter and Saturn coming into play in terms of deep diving into that research. If you have an interest in astrology, Taurus Lagna people and Taurus Moon, this is going to be a period where you are going to embark upon gaining a lot more knowledge. Maybe you will be watching the playlist that Dave Astrology has created in repeat. You could be reading books in isolation. You could be prompting me chat messages and saying, Dave, let's brainstorm on this aspect. So that interest in the occult, that interest in the unknown, unseen can also come into play. Matters related to will, matters related to inheritance could be prominent, especially if you get Dasha Antardasha period of Mars or Mercury in your chart during this period. So you will have to take up those concern areas as well. But overall, especially from the month of March and April, there could be a stoic silence, radio silence that would come into your career. There could be some delays, some things that you might have to grapple with. Remember, at the end of the day, Saturn is having a conjunction with Rahu as well. There are 5, 7 planets that are coming into the same house or in that axis, aspecting your Virgo sign as well. In fact, Ketu is also giving an aspect back. So it's roughly 6, 7 planets playing some game in the sign of Pisces and Virgo. So a lot will happen during this period. But as you proceed ahead, as Saturn comes out of combustion, as that conjunctions move away, the full energy of Saturn will be coming into play in terms of emphasizing the outcomes of gains, success, materialistic growth, as long as your principles, protocols, moral compass, and karmas are intact, my friends. That is the only remedy you need to do. Stick onto those areas. You don't have to follow anything else. And as we proceed ahead, we will realize various movements of Saturn in terms of retrogradation, in terms of other conjunctions. We will continue to make videos through the course of this 2.5 period. And if you've enjoyed watching the impact of this transit of Saturn into Pisces for Taurus moon and Lagna, my request to you is please smash on that like button, subscribe to the Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya.